If crypto were a Tinder date, it would be the guy who calls himself an entrepreneur, but really just sells solar door to door. So, yeah, if you can't already tell, I hate crypto. And by the end of this video, I'm confident I can convince you that the entire cryptocurrency industry might be the biggest scam. Let's start at the beginning. The origins of cryptocurrency go back to 1983, when David Chaum introduced the idea of eCash, an anonymous electronic money system. And then, for the next 20 years, crypto kind of lurked in the shadows, waiting for its moment. Then, 2009 came. That's when Satoshi Nakamoto mined the first Bitcoin. Suddenly, a decentralized, government-free, bank-hating digital utopia was born. It promised to be the currency of the people, free from government control, and a solution to greedy banks. It was the digital middle finger to the traditional financial system. At least, that was the promise. Because if you fast forward to today, the reality of crypto looks very different from what people imagined. Let's start with the North Star of crypto Bitcoin. It's been over a decade since Bitcoin launched, and it still doesn't have widespread, real-world utility. You can technically buy things with it like a luxury watch or pay a freelancer in another country. But in everyday life, you still can't reliably buy groceries, pay rent, or grab a coffee with Bitcoin. There are hundreds of millions of businesses worldwide, and even those that do usually convert it into cash immediately after the transaction. As a currency, it's basically useless at scale. Why? Because of high volatility, high transaction fees, and fraud risks. So yes, Bitcoin can technically work as a currency, but that's like saying you could mow your lawn with nail clippers. The truth is, there's no widespread adoption and no real-world utility as a payment system. The real use of Bitcoin isn't as a currency, it's a speculative asset whose price is driven purely by supply and demand. Except gold has had thousands of years of perceived value, and Bitcoin hasn't even existed long enough to legally drink. Instead of revolutionizing finance, crypto has just become another playground for speculation. So, if it's speculative, is it at least a good investment? Not really. Bitcoin's volatility is extremely high compared to traditional markets. That's why professional money managers typically suggest putting only a very small percentage of your portfolio into crypto, because the risk-adjusted returns just aren't that great. That's where FTX comes in. FTX was one of the biggest crypto exchanges in the world. It had major investors, celebrity endorsements, and global credibility. And at the center of it all was its CEO, Sam Bankman-Fried, who was seen as the face of trust in crypto. But it turned out FTX was misusing customer funds. They were secretly funneling user deposits into a hedge fund, which is extremely illegal. Eventually, everything collapsed. The company went bankrupt, billions were lost, and it became one of the biggest financial scandals in recent history. Even experts said they had never seen such a complete failure of corporate controls. And that's the pattern. Meme coins, failed projects, collapsed exchanges. They're just the tip of the iceberg. The crypto industry is filled with hype, scams, and broken promises. And yet, somehow, it's still thriving. Why? Greed. Even with no real-world utility, no intrinsic value, and very little trust, people keep pouring money into it. It's the same cycle: hype, pump, crash, repeat. And every time something collapses, people act surprised. When the entire system is unregulated, anonymous, and built almost entirely on trust. Blockchain technology might have potential, but the current reality of crypto is simple. It's a giant casino. So yeah, I hate crypto. Not because I don't understand it, but because I do. It's the same lies, the same greed, and the same blind optimism. It's not the future of finance. It's a digital mirage that disappears the moment you try to grab it.